Tonight, I am going to make a video based solely off of frustration. And it's going to be a good video. Short, but good. Here we go. I'm not quite sure really how to start this video other than to simply say it's being made out of frustration. And the frustration comes from being members of coin pages that I understand there's a certain amount of people on those pages that are new and wanting to learn. However, the frustration side for people such as myself and other people in the coin world that actually know quite a bit about or a fair amount about all of the different varieties and errors and things like that, or how to at least understand them, is that the frustration we feel with a lot of the new people is that they have this amazing tool called Google, YouTube, and all sorts of other things that help to try and explain the minting process to them. And the minting process is by far and away the most important thing that you can learn when it comes to trying to identify varieties and errors on coins. The other best way to learn about varieties and errors and the minting process is to get yourself some books. And there are a wealth of books that are out there targeted specifically for every particular denomination of coin, as well as just broad range of coins. One of those books is this one. This is a red book. Now, this one happens to be a 2019 edition, and really, you don't need to buy a brand new red book every single year. You can get along with one for every couple of years. But the best part about a red book are the first 20 pages of that red book. And those first 15 or 20 pages actually explains quite a bit about the minting process, and then it goes into some of the approximate values for coins throughout the entire United States coinage history. So, if you're like me, you tend to hone in on one particular denomination of coin. I tend to like Lincoln cents, that's my strong suit. I can talk somewhat semi intelligently about some of the other denominations, but for the most part, my real strong denomination is going to be the Lincoln cent, and I'm really good at them. Now, one of the nice parts about the red book here that I have is the fact that it goes through all of the denominations and it gives you approximate values for all of the different denominations. Here's the other issue, though. You have to learn how to grade a coin accurately in order to determine a coin's value and worth. And that's not quite as easy to do. I've learned over the course of time that, believe it or not, there are some coins that don't wear the same way that other denominations do, like a nickel, for example. It's incredibly difficult to try and judge the grade of a nickel because it wears differently. It really, for the most part, doesn't discolor. And the only way you're able to tell a coin's grade when it comes to a nickel is to look for the wear on the coin itself. That's not so easy when it comes to a nickel. So now let's get into varieties and errors. And we're going to cover the very first part of that before we get into too much more, the variety coin. And a variety coin is basically a coin that has a design that is specific to the die or die pair that made that coin. In other words, something like a repunched mint mark, for example, or a doubled die. Now, I use the word doubled die, not double die. And the reason why is because, in true fashion, in the minting process, and again, this is what's important understanding the minting process, in order to have a doubled die, you actually have to have a die that has been doubled before it struck the coin. Now, a mint die, striking a coin twice does not make it a doubled die. So a doubled die has to actually start with the die itself being doubled. All right. What about error coins? Well, simply put, the definition of an error coin is a coin that was never intended to be minted that way in the first place. Just like any other manufacturing plant, the mint is trying for perfection. It's that simple. And what they're trying not to do are put out coins or dollar bills, for example, that are minted incorrectly. Things like a clipped planchet or even a coin that has been double struck or triple struck or flipped over inside the collar and restruck. There are all sorts of different types of mint errors. Those coins, really, for the most part, are never intended to leave the factory, just like the loaf of bread, for example, that may be squished before it's actually put into the plastic bag. They don't want that going out to put on the shelves and sold. So the mint is exactly the same way. They don't want those errors out, but those errors are valuable. Now, here's what's interesting about errors: errors can be attempted to be duplicated outside of the mint. And there are so many fakes out there that it's really hard to figure out which is a true error and which is a fake error. So, again, understanding the minting process is key to understanding how an error could possibly happen in the minting process. If you do not understand the minting process to begin with, you cannot start searching for error coins and think you're going to get lucky finding them. All right. So, how do you actually figure out anything that there is to know about varieties and error coins? Where do you look? Well, one of the best places to look for variety coins is not only several internet pages, there are reputable ones such as Variety Vista, which is right here, and coppercoins.com, which is a phenomenal one that deals mostly with copper related varieties, as well as Wexler's, which is also known as doubleddie.com. You can find that here. And of course, there's one really important site for varieties and errors more than anything else, errors, and it's called errorreference.com. I will leave the links for all of those pages down in the comments section as well as the description area below so that you can access them for your viewing pleasure, I guess, if you want. But one of the best things that you can do is pick yourself up one of these. This is a cherry picker's guide, and they come in all sorts of editions. This happens to be the 6th edition, volume 1 that I have here, and they cover a variety of different denominations depending on the edition that you're looking at. And what's nice about this is these are the varieties that are actually the very valuable varieties that people are looking for, ones with what are called the FS numbers. And they're called FS numbers in relation to the names, the last names of the two people that helped to start and write the book. And so, from that standpoint, what you're going to get are varieties that are the worthwhile varieties that you want to look for. Now, when it comes to the error coins, That's a different story. There are a lot of different web pages, like I had mentioned before, that talk about the different types of errors that are out there. Like I said at the beginning of this, I tend to be the type of person that focuses specifically on Lincoln Sense. And there is one book that I have continued to go back to time and time and time again, and it's a book that is, without a doubt, the most important and authoritative reference that I've ever run across. Believe it or not, that's its name, the authoritative reference of Lincoln Sense, right? That's kind of cool. This book is incredibly thick and it goes through everything that you could possibly ever want to know about the Lincoln Cent. It was written and has a couple of different editions over the course of the last several years, but it is about a 10-year-old book, but it covers everything that you really need to know when it comes to Lincoln Sense. And it is very, very comprehensive. It even covers grading of Lincoln Sense, which is amazing for people that are just starting out and learning how to grade Lincoln Sense. So, with all of that said, as you can see, not only are there websites that you can use to figure out whether or not you have a variety or an error coin and what those varieties or error coins might be, but there are also a plethora of books and resources that you should be getting yourself in order to reference or start learning about those varieties and errors that you're after. But remember, the key, as I have said over and over and over in this particular video, is before any of that can happen, you need to make sure you understand the minting process. If you cannot actually explain where in the minting process a particular variety or error happened, then it is most likely post mint damage or not a variety to begin with. That right there is one of the biggest key points that any collector will be able to tell you and explain to you from the very start. Understanding that minting process is paramount and key to everything. Hopefully, you guys have learned something. If you have, do me a favor, hit the like button. If you need to, please subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, you'll get notifications at that point when more videos become available. And I do definitely appreciate you guys paying attention, and I hope, like nothing else, that you guys understand that posting pictures on some of the Facebook pages is okay to do, but help us help you when it comes to understanding what it is that you are looking at or looking for. Have a good evening, everybody.